still. Tony Remo doing it so well from the start, and the two Barry Cornwall again hooked up there a little on the Speedbowl sign, but he's okay, and so it's Tony Remo doing it so well from the start there. Les Booker getting caught up in the fence there and brings down the orange light. Okay, we'll be at a complete restart again. Stewart happy and green flag down, and let's see what Tony Remo does this time. Okay, and he's away. Straight into turn one, holds it down tight there. Barry Cornwall getting up a little high again, but looks as though he's coming through there okay. So down the back straight now, and it's Tony Remo. And have a look at Wally Franco there. He's up in a fourth spot already. Richard Green up here in the fence in the old HK. But still struggling with the conditions, but they'll be okay after a few laps. And it's still Tony Remo up the back straight there, doing it better than anyone else at the moment, handling the conditions extremely well. Wally Franco, the next guy to do well here. And have a look at Tony Grinstead. He's come from right up the back there, and Okay, well, cars circulating round now. Brian Nichols in the 73 car, Andy Harper on the back a little there for and Noel Rickstein on the outside of Brian Nichols. Roger Sides out of 3 there, all the way from Queensland. Our Queensland representative here, one of the Queensland representatives, as is Brian Nichols out off the pole there. Peter Chittick there in the number 5, the white supercharged EH Holden. Jeff Irons outside Peter in the Camaro. Back there to Terry Grist in the yellow HX, I think, sedan, with Ron Dalton outside him in the 75 car. Peter Timberlake just behind there. Okay, green flag down and they're racing, and it's the 78 car of Noel Rickstein right into the lead there, ahead of the rest, and it's the 2 big Corvettes there out in front, and Stephen Olive from Canberra underneath, and he's really starting to get it together down there into turn 3, and this heat looks like a little faster than the other, so track settles down for these guys, but it's Stephen Olive doing it really well from the rest of the field. The Queenslander back there in second spot from Peter Chittick in the supercharged EH, seems to be getting together. Peter Timberlake coming up high there, but losing a bit of ground, but Peter, a great competitor in the big HQ Monaro there as he comes right down and holds down that 4th spot now from the 92 car of Rondon. It's still Stephen Olive doing it really well in the big blue Corvette out in front there from Roger Sides and Peter Chittick. Ryan Nichols up a little high there out of 4 in the Commodore. He's not handling these conditions too well, but should settle down later. Stephen Olive coming up to lap him in the Corvette from Canberra. Peter Timberlake now right through into 3rd spot, and he's a guy you're going to have to watch here tonight as Peter gets that big HQ really rolling. Peter Chittick holding down the 4th spot from the Ron Dalton back there. And Peter Chittick getting a little out of shape up the back straight, but he's back. You know, it's the EH just too much down now, and we've got a car right into the fence here on turn 3. It's Brian Nichols, the other Queensland car, and bring down the yellow flag. The car's still mobile, but pushing badly and not handling the conditions well at all. Go and green flag down, and it's still Stephen Olive pulls out a commanding lead from Roger Sides and Peter Timberlake, and Peter Chittick there throwing the EH right in, just about doing it from the infield, but anyway, lost a lot of ground there as the car came back onto the track, but it's still the Stephen Olive from Roger Sides and Peter Timberlake doing it really well in the big HQ Monaro there. Orange light down. Peter Chittick seems to have a problem up there. We said before, the car's only brand spanking new. Hasn't even had time to be sign written properly. Beautifully built car, supercharged 6-cylinder Holden. Okay, green flag out now. Stewart's happy, and it's still Stephen Olive does it well there. Pulls out another little lead there, right down into turn 1. He comes around into the Speedbowl side of the big Corvette, doing it extremely well. Pushing a little now, he loses a bit of ground, but he's down there. But have a look at Roger Sides. He's throwing out a challenge, but just can't get it all down there enough to get up beside Stephen Olive. But as they come around now, with just on 8 laps to go, it's Stephen Olive from Roger Sides. And have a look at Peter Timberlake. He's looking for that big high line around there, but I think she's still a little too breezy to do that. But certainly later on, that's going to be the place to run as the track settles right down. And car's certainly getting it hooked up a lot better now. They come on down into turn 3 for just a little over 7 laps to go, and it's still Stephen Olive doing it really well from Roger Sides, and Peter Timberlake really putting the pressure on Roger Sides now, looking for that second spot and the 40 points that goes with it. But Peter just not having it, just a little out of shape there as right backs off a bit, but Peter coming out okay and still holding down that 3rd spot, and back to Rondon back there in 4th spot ahead of Jeff Irons, and Jeff's looking for ahead of Terry Grist, and it's right back there to David House, back in about 8th spot, I'd say, in the 60 miles are coming up, and the Terry Grist there to try and pick up a place, but just not really having enough grunt there to get through. But oh, it's still Stephen Olive doing it really well there. Brian Nichols just causing a bit of heartache there as they come up to lap Brian, but position's still the same, and these three cars really clearing out from the rest of the field as they handling the track conditions extremely well here tonight for this Heat 2 of the Australian Super Sedan Championship. Back now to 4th spot there. It's still Ron Dalton doing it well ahead of Jeff Lyons and Noel Rickstein staying back there in the big green Corvette. Terry Grist seems to have a bit of a heating problem there with a lot of steam coming out of the car, but still pushing on there, so I'm happy he's okay. Timberlake still looking for the way around right precise, but not finding it to try and pick up that 2nd spot, but I don't think he's got enough laps to do it in, and he might just have to be content with the 3rd spot and the 31 points instead of 40. Stephen Olive still doing it well there in 1st spot. Have a look at Timberlake now as he tries to get up around right precise. He realises it's only 2 laps to go, but I don't think the big HQ can do it from high, and he just picks off now as Rod Precise comes right under Stephen Olive there, and he's certainly looking for the way through, but Stephen's not going to let him, and Rod's going to lose a bit of ground. It's just 1 lap going. Have a look at Peter Timberlake there. He's really trying hard there. Flat to the board there, and as he comes down, but he might just lose it, but if he can hang in there, he might get it up the back straight. And have a look at this. He almost, but not quite, and it's Rod Precise who gets the advantage there from Stephen's slight hiccup out of turn 2, but as they come around, it's now Rod Precise of Queenslander holding down that 1st spot ahead of Stephen Olive, and Peter Timberlake still not giving up, but coming in now 3rd spot, and so far back to 4th spot, and Ron Dalton still holding that down from Jeff Irons. Brian Nichols, I think, is almost left, and then it's 4th spot to Ron Dalton, Jeff Irons, Terry Grist, Noel Rickstein, and okay, I think Jim English back there at the back with another of the ACT cars there. Okay, green flag down. It's Gary Hoffman there looking for that big 51 points there off the start from Kevin Parkinson. And have a look at this little RX-7 go, holding down the 4th spot, but he's right up there quick, and I just saw it loop forward down the back straight as he gave it the stick, but it's the 75 car of Eddie Warren doing it quite well back there in 3rd spot, and Kevin Parkinson up the back straight there, right under Gary Hoffman, and up in the 1st spot. Gary pushing badly right up there into turn 2, and lost a lot of air, but have a look at Parkinson come on around there and up the front straight, doing it so well here tonight, and he's looking for a off the front start in the final race here tonight. So it's Kevin Parkinson pulling it down now up the back straight, really getting into it from Gary Hoffman. The 2 Corvettes clearing out. It just seems that it's the Corvettes that are holding the conditions so well here tonight. The little RX-7 back there in 4th spot, just not able to get up there and challenge Eddie Warren, and Eddie's doing a pretty good job there in his Toronto to hold down that 3rd spot. But it's the 71 car of Gavin McKenzie coming up there to challenge the RX-7 of Brian Holt. Okay, up the back straight there. Sorry, Peter Beck down. Have a look, he's getting right up under Peter there, but still holding down that 6th spot. Still Kevin Parkinson up the Yokohama back straight, doing well. Oh, a little bit of a problem up the back straight there with Gary Hoffman lapping the Corvette from Canberra of Brian Holbrook, but Brian's still mobile, but will cause a restart now with just on 8 laps to go. Right, Stuart happy, cars are in their right positions. No, we've had a change of gun up the back, so that's fine. Kevin Parkinson from Gary Hoffman and Eddie Warren, and the green flag down with just on 9 laps of this 12 lap need to go, and Kevin Parkinson and Gary Hoffman right into that turn. So Wildcard pushing a little, it's still third spot, and doing it well in the Little Mazda Rotary RX-7, all the way from Canberra, and pretty car, looks good. And have a look at Gavin McKenzie now. He's really out after that, and he's right up in the fourth spot there, right up behind Peter Bink, and Gavin's got the big Falcon really going, and if he can pull it down there, he might just get up, but Peter Bink just does it a little bit better in the Rotary and clears on out down the back straight. But it's still Kevin Parkinson from Gary Hoffman holding down that first and second spot from Peter Bink, and Gavin McKenzie in the big Falcon from Eddie Warren. And we've got Jim English a little out of shape there up in the turn 3 and 4, and he's mobile. He'll just have to do it all from the back now. So on 7 laps of racing to go in this Heat 3. That's Kevin Parkinson, still from Gary Hoffman, Bink, Gavin McKenzie, and Eddie Warren back there in 5th spot. And getting quicker, still pushing a little out of that turn 2, maybe. She's still a little slippery there, but it'll settle down okay. Still Kevin Parkinson doing it really well here at the bowl tonight with just over 7 laps to go. Comes out beautifully sideways there, and the car looks really good. And have a look at Gavin McKenzie, he's doing big things there around the outside. And will he make it? I don't think so. He'll need to hold it down low coming out of that turn, and it backs off just a little. Car's certainly got the power, but he's not able to find the way around. So it's still Kevin Parkinson from Gary Hoffman, and Gavin McKenzie trying again. He gets in a little earlier this time, and he's certainly done it. So he goes right up in the 3rd spot, ahead of Peter Bink in the RX-7 from the 82 car of Darren Corey now, holding down that 5th spot. Kevin Parkinson. 5 laps to go now for Kevin, and Gary Hoffman now holding down that 2nd spot. And Gavin McKenzie on out after them, looking pretty good too, and he's got probably enough time to catch up if he can get closer to Gary Hoffman, but loses a little there and lost a lot of ground there. Gary Hoffman coming up, lapping the slower cars there, the Keith Wheel, the Warrnambool car, and comes around, and he's still got his sights set. Oh, a little bit of problem hold up there for Kevin Parkinson, but he's away now and still holding down that very comfortable lead. Okay, just on 4 laps to go now, and the car's doing it better each lap around. Gavin McKenzie coming around now, still holding that 3rd spot. Gary Hoffman lapping slower car now and still holding down that very good 2nd spot there. And he comes back up the back straight, down into turn 3 and around, and he looks like picking up that 40 points for the 2nd spot there behind Kevin Parkinson. Okay, it's on 2 laps to go now of racing, and still Gavin McKenzie now comes under the starter's flag there as he's got 2 laps to go, holding down that 3rd spot ahead of Peter Bink, the RX-7 from Canberra, and back there to, I think it's Darren Corey holding down that 5th spot ahead of Eddie Warren, and Jim English now figuring up there in the minor placings, having had to start off the back again. Holding Kevin Parkinson up a little as he comes down to lap the slower cars into turn 3, and John Crocker has had his white flag out, and now he comes up with the checkered flag there for Kevin Parkinson. Gary Hoffman back a little now to Gavin McKenzie, doing it well in the big Falcon, and Peter Bink in the RX-7, and then fairway back then to Darren Corey now holding down that 5th spot. Okay, we're away now with Heat 4, and this is the last round of the heats, and then we're going to do it all again with the same cars for 2 more rounds. Starting off the front there, we've got oh, that looks like a 24, I think, of John Corrigan and Jimmy Duggan on the outside. Okay, green flag, Chris Blunden, the Australian back there in 3rd spot, and it's Jim Duggan now, our own local competitor there, doing it so well in the Camaro. Oh, a little bit of something going on. Chris got a bit of a serve, and he's a little out of shape and not doing too well. But have a look at the big Camaro coming through there. Gary Chippendale a little out of shape there, but coming on down now, and it's Jim Duggan well clear. from the 74 car there of Alan Tennant, doing it pretty well there too, but he's going to lose that second spot now to Jim Velitis. Okay, we've got to settle it down a little now and go and do it all again. Okay, Jim Duggan there with a handy lead from Alan Tennant, from Dallas Jewson, Chris Blunden, Australia 1, and okay, it's Jim Duggan. Have a look at Chris Blunden there up to the outside, and he's looking for that big high line right around. He certainly finds it, and he's right under Jim, and have a look at him go. Oh, a little bit of a shunt there as he backs off, but he's well clear, and Dallas Jewson now right in a third spot behind Jimmy Duggan. Jim's pushing a little hard, not handling too well, so Dallas is right underneath him, and Dean McCarthy right up there in the fourth spot, but the race is right out there at number 1 with Chris Blunden doing it so well, pushing a little out of turn 2, but that'll settle down, and Dallas Jewson coming right up to challenge him now, and I think we've got a race on our hands there as they come on down now under the start line, and still Chris Blunden hanging on there with 9 laps to go, and Dallas Jewson throwing out that big challenge as they come on under. Oh, a little high there, and Dallas Jewson is right in, and that's just what you can't afford. And have a look at Dean McCarthy now, and he's just doing the same thing. So Chris Brunden's got to do it all again if he wants to get back up there in the points, and it's back there to 4th spot, and Jim Duggan. Okay, so right down under, and Dallas doing it so well there now, ahead of Dean McCarthy from Chris Blunden, having a little trouble out of turn 2, and that's where he's losing it a bit, but he'll settle down no doubt, and he's still holding down that 3rd spot ahead of Jim Duggan back in 4th. Okay, race going back on there for 5th and 6th spots. Gary Chippendall in all sorts of bother there and not really able to get through, but he's right now and comes on the Toronto there, and he's away too, but the race is really on back here, and have a look at these two at 2nd and 3rd spot with Dean McCarthy and Chris Blunden really battling out as they come up to lap that car, and Dean McCarthy coming off better there as he comes around the outside, and Chris having to do it the long way around, and have a look at the Commodore. It looks so good as it comes around, but still back there in that 3rd spot. Dallas Jewson around under the Speedbowl sign there, holding down that 1st spot, and up the back straight now, lapping the slower cars. Dean McCarthy doing it well in 2nd spot, ahead of Chris Blunden. Oh, over the wheel there, and that's John Corrigan there, got a little out of shape there, and okay, we'll just wait now on the steward's decision for the cars involved in that. Sorry, Dean McCarthy to the rear or Blunden? Sorry, my mistake. It's Dean McCarthy to the rear, not Chris Blunden. Quite correct, of course, not Australia 1. Still a little greasy in the car, not set quite right to handle that. Pushing loses a lot of ground there, and that's where the other guys have been able to jump under him. But he'll settle down. Once the track settles down out of that turn, the car will just go that much better. Okay, green flag there now. Dallas Jewson, Chris Blunden, and Jim Duggan in the big Camaro back there in 3rd spot, ahead of Jim Velitis there in the big HQ, the ex-Mark Weaver HQ Holden there. Dallas Jewson still doing good, but have a look at Blunden coming deep into that turn, and look at Dean McCarthy. He's up in a 5th spot. Oh, a little high there, but he keeps the boot in it, loses the ground, but he's doing some big things back there, and he's back right up there, right up in a 5th spot now, and he'll be out after Jim Velitis there in 4th spot, and the Corvette looking pretty quick tonight too. It's a race on here now for 1st and 2nd. We're just on 4 laps to go, and look at Dean McCarthy coming up now. Jim Velitis under Jim Duggan, but Dean McCarthy, have a look at him. He's right up under Jimmy Duggan there and looking for that 4th spot, doing exceptionally well there from the rear of the field, and he's going to have to go really high and That's where he was told to go last night, and he's certainly taken our advice. Now here he goes, and he'll be right up in the third spot there in no time if he's not careful. Okay, still Dallas Jewson from Chris Blunden, and they're having a great little dice too, but now look at Dean McCarthy. He's right up in the fourth spot now with just on a bit over 2 laps to go, but doing it well now as he's now right up into third spot now is Dean McCarthy, and certainly did it the hard way. White flag out now for Dallas Jewson, 1 lap to go for Dallas, and Chris Blunden there ahead of Dean McCarthy. Dean just couldn't make up that ground, but he's done so well to get up there in the third spot and take off those 31 points ahead of Jim Velitis and Jim Duggan. Checkered flag now ready by John Crocker down the start line for Dallas Jewson and Chris Blunden as they come across the line for first and second. And it's back to Dean McCarthy now coming right around out of turn 4. And great performance from Dean in the big black Corvette there. South Australia 1 ahead of Jim Velitis in the big HQ. And Jim Duggan, he should have just hung on there, and that's a pity. Gary Chippendall there, I think, taking off that 5th spot. Okay, cars coming around now for the start. Stuart not quite happy, so cars will need to do another circulation. Sylvia down there. If you see her, tell her to come to the TF. Okay. Stuart a little happier this time round. Green flag ready, and we're away, and that's Peter Bink and Peter Chittick right up there, right in. Peter Bink pulls down that first spot, but oh, have a look at that, and Jim English right through, and I think we've got a slight problem there of the 2 cars hooked together by the look of it. Okay, well, I'll just have to go back and do it all again. Peter Chittick, rear field for that little episode. Not hooked up there with Peter Bink. Complete restart, but Peter Chittick will have to go to the back and do it the hard way. The big blower really stoking up the old 6-cylinder Holden there. She needs all the cooling it can get. Okay, we've got Peter Bink now off the pole from Darren Corey in the 82 car, and we'll just see what they can do there. That little Mazda rotary is pretty quick, and Darren's come all the way from New South Wales, and back there in third spot, Jim English in the big Ford Falcon. And Bruce Tate and the little red Tirana on the outside there. Okay, well, looks like we've got to start the green flag down, and look at Darren Corey there. He's really holding his spot there outside Peter Bink. A little bit of it coming together there, but not to worry anyway. And it's Darren Corey who looks like having that little bit extra power down the back straight there, and he heads into turn 3 ahead of Peter Bink there in the RX-7, and Jim English really pressuring in there, and there, still hanging in, but Tony Grinstead's the guy who's right up in a 4th spot now, and Tony's looking for that way around. Did it well off the back in his first heat, and no doubt looking for some more points in this one. But it's Darren Corey now across the line with just on 10 to go from Peter Bink in the RX-7, Jim English in the big Falcon from Tony Grinstead, and then Bruce Tate still holding down that 5th spot. And this is a great race as they come on down into turn 3, and no, there's hardly a gap between a lot of them. Have a look at Tony Grinstead. He's going to look for the way around Jim English now, but decided not to, with just on 9 laps to go, and Peter Bink looking for a way under Darren Corey, but again not finding it, and Bruce Tate moving up now and getting under Tony Grinstead as he went a little high there out of turn 2. Peter Chittick having a few problems back in the pack there, but still Darren Corey doing it so well there from Peter Bink and Jim English. Oh, getting a little physical there, I'd say, losing a lot of ground, and well, that's racing, and now it's Tony Grinstead up in the 3rd spot, Jim English right back in the 5th. Darren Corey under there, 7 laps to go for Darren. Peter Bink and the little Mazda there, and Grinstead's looking for the way around, and well, I think he's going to find it up the back straight. Have a look at Tony Grinstead there. He's really pulling that high line tonight. That we've got a problem up under the Speedbowl sign with Peter Chittick. He's decided to have a closer look at the sign there, and looks like a front end problem for Peter. Okay, well, I think Tony Grinstead's going to have to do it all again, because we've the rules are that we go back to the previous lap for the restart. So we'll just see how that works out in the restart. Okay, Darren Corey from Peter Bink and Tony Grinstead there, ahead of Bruce Tate and Jim English in the Big Falcon as they cross the line for this time. 7 laps to go now, and Tony Grinstead already looking for that big way around. If he does it right, he might go right up in the first spot there if he's lucky, but Peter Bink holding me out, and oh, here he goes around, and that's where you've got to run tonight if you want to do it the big way. Tony Grinstead really doing it well there as he goes right up, and yes, he's certainly in a first place as he comes around with just a little under 6 laps to go, and he's going to be another guy to watch as Tony Grinstead as he comes up and holds down that first spot from Darren Corey and Peter Bink. From Jim English now up a little higher and losing it with Bruce Tate, but that's a great race back there too for 4th and 5th spot as they come down, and Jim's yeah, I think he might have just, but if he holds it down there he'll be okay, and he certainly is up in the 4th spot, Jim English in the Big Falcon, and they're just clearing out from the rest. Tony Grinstead now doing it comfortably out in front there, and he can just relax a little as he comes around down the back straight and on into turn 3 with just over 3 and a bit laps to go. Peter Bink now getting up and under Darren Corey there to come on up into 2nd spot there, ahead of Jim English and Bruce Tate. We're still battling it out there back there for 4th and 5th spot. Bruce not giving up without a fight, and he's got on under Jim English now, and they're running wheel to wheel as they come on up to 3rd spot Darren Corey, but Jim English wins out, and he's off in, and just on 2 laps to go now for Tony Grinstead and Darren Corey there. Peter Bink holding down that 2nd spot, and Jim English challenging now for 3rd spot, but no, and Bruce Tate there coming off the better as Jim lost a lot of ground and sort of got the car a little out of shape, but he's coming back now with great challenge there and up there, but still just not having enough to get around Bruce Tate. Oh, a little high there for Jim and loses a lot of ground, but checker flag out now for Tony Green. Great win to Tony Grinstead, and nice guy too, and well deserving from Peter Bink there back in 2nd spot in the RX-7. Oh, Darren Corey got a little bit of a help around there from Bruce Tate, and that just wasn't nice. But we'll just have to wait for the steward's decision on that. And just trying to sort out who the 10 car is actually. Yeah, Guy Miller. Guy Miller in the X. Okay, we've got to start, and Stephen Olive and Barry Cornwall really getting it down there, and oh, really throws it in there ahead of Stephen Olive, and as well up, and have a look at Gary Chippendale too. He's up in a 3rd spot and doing it well, and Dallas Jewson right down under the Western Australian, and doing a little bit of a shortcut there, but he's a way on up in a 4th spot there, but Barry Cornwall, he's long gone, but have a look at Gary Chippendale now. He's around Stephen Olive and up in the 2nd spot, and got the old turbo Commodore really flying there. Dallas Jewson really having to get on the brakes back there in 4th spot as Stephen Olive backs right off, but he'll have to do it right around the outside if he wants to get around Stephen Olive, but he's trying that inside, but there just isn't any room there, Dallas, and it's still Barry Cornwall doing it really well out there in the Big Falcon with Gary Chippendale hot on his hammer, and Kevin Parker, sorry, coming on up now in the 5th spot. Dallas Jewson looking for that inside line and gets right under Stephen Olive there, and he's away on up in the 3rd spot now, and out chasing the points here tonight too. Okay, car looks good as he really backs it into turn 3 there and brings it around. Come on out there, but it's still Barry Cornwall in the Falcon doing it so well out there in front. Gary Chippendall, the 2 Victorians, ahead of the South Australian and the Canberra guy back there in 4th spot, Stephen Olive. Kevin Parkinson, really deep into turn 3 there, and he'll be looking for the big way around Stephen Olive too, and he's certainly got the old black Corvette going really well tonight. Okay, but it's still Barry Cornwall doing it so well out there in front with just a little over 6 laps to go, and from Gary Chippendall and Dallas Doosan looking for the way around Gary, but not finding it yet. And Barry Cornwall still that handy little lead out there out of turn 2 and up the Yokohama back straight, down into turn 3, and these first 3 cars are clearing right out, and race back there for 4th and 5th between the 2 Corvettes of Stephen Olive and Kevin Parkinson. And well, you can almost forget the rest. They're just fighting it out way back there, but Barry Cornwall still doing it so well down the back straight, and Dallas Doosan really got the power on down there, but not finding the way around Gary Chippendall. Gary under the lap cars now as they come around under the Speedbowl sign with just on 4 laps to go, and getting quicker each heat as they go along of this heat 6 of the Australian Super Sedan Championship here at Melbourne Speedbowl. Okay, it's still Barry Cornwall now. Backs off under the Speedbowl with Gary Chippendall looking for the way around Brian Holbrook there as he comes up to lap him and gets under him quite cleanly. Brian shuts the gate on Dallas Doosan, but Dallas will just have to look for that way around now as they come on up with just on 2 laps to go now. Barry Cornwall going really well, and coming up the back straight there. Gary Chippendall getting so close there as he comes round turn 3 and out for really with a white flag and only 1 lap to do it in, but Gary's really throwing out the challenge now to Barry Cornwall. He knows it's just 1 lap to go, and he knows he can run the Commodore high, but if he's not careful, Dallas Doosan's going to slip right underneath there as they come up the back straight for the last time. Barry Cornwall taking it ever so cautiously there, holding down the tight line. Have a look at Doosan. He's under Chippendall, but he just doesn't make it. That's only just a little over half a car length there for that 2nd spot. That great race there to Barry Cornwall. Did it ever so well in the Big XD Falcon from Gary Chippendall and Dallas Doosan. Okay, cars will circulate around. Green flag, and they're certainly racing. And it's down into David House, who gets the jump there right up in the 2nd spot. And Kim Cottrell trying a little bit of a shortcut there, but there ain't no track there, Kim. I think we better go back and do that again. And okay, we've got Kim Cottrell up there. Smile, you're on video. I hope you're supposed to be here. Okay, Kim Cottrell back up where he was, and he's been given the benefit of the doubt there. Nick Girdlestone off out of 1. David House out of 3. Okay, green flag down, and they're into it again, and they've got to go back and do it. And we've got Gary Hoffman right off the back there. He's got the hard way around, and so is Chris Blunden, and they get balked by a slower car there, but they're away now, and Gary Hoffman lost a lot of ground there, but it's still Nick Girdlestone from David House there, and Kim Cottrell as they come around under the line for the end of lap 1, and just on 11 laps to go. They're into it now. David House still up in that 2nd spot, and Nick Girdlestone gets a little out of shape there, and they all have to back off. Chris Blunden working his way now up into 5th spot ahead of Gary Hoffman, but it's still Nick Girdlestone there doing it well in the Barrow from David House, car from Canberra there, and Kim Cottrell. Have a look at Chris Blunden around the outside there, and here's a problem, but okay. Okay, well, David House has got to go back and do it the hard way from the rear. Shut the gate on Kim Cottrell there. Cars hooked up together, so we'll just need the tow truck there, I think. Okay, so we've got Nick Girdlestone off the front there from Kim Cottrell, and Gavin McKenzie ahead of Chris Blunden, Gary Chippendall, and then count the rest. So it's Nick Girdlestone right up there, and Chris Blunden looking for that big way around Gavin McKenzie, but he's going to have to really get stuck on. Oh, he almost does there, but Gary Hoffman looking for the way under there, but I don't think he'll hold that down too long as they come around, and it's still Nick Girdlestone from Kim Cottrell, Gavin McKenzie doing it well there, and Chris Blunden back there. Nick Girdlestone a little high as Kim Cottrell. Oh, not much room up there, Nick, and oh, Gary Hoffman just had nowhere to go, unfortunately, and Gary Hoffman's still mobile, but I think the Corvette's probably a little worse for wear. Yeah. Well, he didn't have much room left up there, unfortunately, and the track just ain't that wide. Gary Hoffman pulling up down here front. Rick West just checking. The wheel looks a little further back than it should be, unfortunately. Hit Nick Girdlestone pretty hard there up the back straight. And no doubt affect the handling of the car. Gary Hoffman out, I would say. Okay, we need to just let Gary know that he can't work on his car. Yeah, the rule states that if we get a stoppage in the first lap and you got a flat tyre or whatever, then it can be changed. But it's 3 laps are down, so Gary's going to have to try a little harder in the next heat. That's okay. Okay, Gavin McKenzie off the front there from Chris Blunden, David House and Kim Cottrell. Okay, Kim Cottrell looking for the way inside David House there, and yep, he's found it, but doing a bit of a shortcut, and Chris Blunden straight up there into the lead, and he's going to be long gone. He's still having a little trouble out of turn 2 there, but still looks good. And have a look at the way he's got this car really sideways there, and that's why he's Australia 1 as he goes on down there. Just on 8 laps to go for Chris Blunden ahead of Gavin McKenzie and Kim Cottrell looking for that second spot. But he's going to have to do it a little more cleanly than previously, and he certainly got up there, and Gavin just lets him through, and he's up in a second spot there and out after the fellow South Australian, Chris Blunden, as he comes on around now, and Gavin McKenzie not giving up without a fight either as they go on up the back straight there, and David House holding down that 4th spot back there at the tail end. And still Chris Blunden now with just on 6 laps to go for this heat, and he's figuring well up in the points here tonight at the Speedbowl. Down into turn 3, car handling superbly, comes on round, really getting hooked up there. Coming round now, Kim Cottrell holding down that second spot from Gavin McKenzie and the big black Falcon. Okay, Chris still having trouble out of turn 2 there. Must be a little slippery, or I don't know, maybe the line, but comes around everywhere else okay. Okay, David House back there at the tail end, and it's still Chris Blunden, almost the length of the straight. He comes around a little over 3 laps to go, and he looks good tonight. Kim Cottrell there holding down that second spot from Gavin McKenzie in the big black Falcon there. There's Chris Blunden up the back straight, almost the length ahead of Kim Cottrell. Backs it down into 3 there, ran 4, front wheel hiking, and the Commodore looking really quick. We're just on 2 laps to go now for Chris Blunden as he comes around. Australian champion defending his title here tonight for the Super Sedan Championship of Australia. Okay, come round. John Crocker with his white flag there ready for 1 lap to go in this Heat 6. Chris Blunden now from Kim Cottrell, and Gavin McKenzie gets the white flag with just 1 lap to go as they come on up the back straight now for the last time. Round into turn 3. Doing it well. Comfortable lead there for Chris Blunden as he comes and takes up the 51 points to the checkered flag, and it's a great win there to Chris, coming well back in the field there and working his way through. Dean McCarthy right behind him, drove a great race before from the back, and that's Jim Duggan clears right out from them. And Jeff Irons, but have a look at Dean McCarthy. He's on up into second spot, and Peter Timberlake, have a look at him for third spot there as he comes down really hard ahead of Wally Francrum, and Rod Tresice trying a bit of a shortcut there, Rod, but anyway, he's back in the running. But Jim Duggan doing it really well from Dean McCarthy. Peter Timberlake in the big orange HQ there. Terry Grist and Wally Francrum really battling it out there for 4th and 5th spot, and Rod Tresice ranging up there into 6th spot, but still Jim Duggan there with 10 to go, and ahead of Dean McCarthy and Peter Timberlake. Terry Grist still holding down that 4th spot. Have a look at Rod Tresice up the outside. There was not a lot of room up there, Rod, so they come down to the 3-hole around high there, and Wally Francrum in the big supercharged DH coming under Terry Grist there, really pulling it down. Terry just getting a little bit of a nuts there, but he's okay. And Jim Duggan doing it well, running up high there, looking for that high line with smoother and a bit more drive ahead of Dean McCarthy there. A little smoky, but still holding down that 2nd spot ahead of Peter Timberlake, and Wally Francrum there in the EH Holden ahead of Rod Tresice from Queensland. Jim Duggan still coming down, a little over 7 laps to go now, and doing it comfortably right out there in front. Dean McCarthy getting a bit smoky there, might have a problem there, but still hanging on to that 2nd spot there ahead of Timberlake. She's getting a little more smoky up the back straight there, but the Corvette still going quite well there. That 2nd spot, Peter Timberlake looking for the short way round, but hasn't found it yet. Jim Duggan there under the Speedbowl sign, doing it well there, just 5.5 laps ago. He comes up the back straight there. Peter Timberlake getting under Dean McCarthy, but just not having enough there to do it. And Dean backing right off. He's out of it, I'd say. Got a problem. He got a little smoky, and he's right off it. So Peter Timberlake now up in the 2nd spot. Timberlitis just up the high line there, and Wally Francrum there, but race still going there. Okay, back to the leaders now. Jim Duggan still doing it well under the Speedbowl sign from Peter Timberlake, and looks like